Hi, I'm like Dr. Clay Ballard, and this week's winner is Bill Haas. Now, he's got one of the most consistent golf games on the PGA Tour. He's one of only, I believe, 4 people to win at least once a year for the last 4 years. And as you know, he's a former FedEx Cup champion, so a great golf swing, great player. And we're going to go over the transition in his swing and how this is going to help you to both build power and be consistent to hit down and through the ball and take a nice divot in front of the ball. All that's going to really be a key of the transition. The transition is going to be very important to doing those pieces correctly. So let's go ahead and get started with Bill Haas's swing. All right, so I found a cool video on Bill Haas here. You can see his stats on the right: 171 miles an hour ball speed, 3,000 spin rate, and 10.5 launch angle. That's pretty good stats. A little lower spin and a little higher launch, and he would pick up a few yards, but this is pretty close to ideal. But today we're going to focus in on transition, and this is one of the moves that really helps you to get some power and consistency. And let's start out by talking about center of gravity and how this affects your swing and why you should be aware of this. So your center of gravity is basically around your belt buckle for men, and it's just going to be in the center of your mass. So I'm going to mark his belt buckle here as he's going back, and it's in the center of his body. And then as he rotates into the backswing, you're going to notice that he's moving his center of gravity as he's shifting to the right. So now a belt buckle high in the middle of his body, his center of gravity is shifted to the right just a little bit. And we're talking about a small amount, so it's not a ton, but he's moved his center of gravity to the right. That just means he's transitioning his weight to the right side of his body. So now from here, let me go ahead and mark this again. There's his center of gravity. Let's watch and see what happens to his weight or his center of gravity as he completes his backswing. Look how much he shifts to the left. So as he starts to finish the backswing, his weight is already moving to the left with his lower body. And the reason for this is it takes a certain amount of time to move the large mass of your body and your weight. It takes maybe half a second to do so. So you have to get started on this in the backswing. So let's look at just the end of the backswing here. Now we can see his center of gravity is shifted forward maybe about 4 or 5 inches from where it was halfway back. The downswing happens in about 1/4 of a second. So if we wait to shift our weight to move our center of gravity left until the downswing, our tendency is going to be to hang back on the right, to hit the ball thin, to not be able to take a divot in front of the ball because we're not shifting our weight to the left early enough, and that's a real key in hitting down and through the golf ball and making good contact on the golf ball. So you can imagine your center of gravity, when it's to the right, your divot's going to tend to be to the right. When your center of gravity shifts to the left, now your divot is going to be able to move to the left. So if you want to hit down and through, you've been struggling making a divot in front of the golf ball, you want to make sure that you shift your weight a little bit earlier. So let's go ahead and start the downswing. So you can see here, now as he's just started, his weight is shifted significantly to the left when compared to halfway back. All right, so now after we've talked about center of gravity, very, very important piece, let's talk about building power and leverage. And this is one of Newton's 3 laws. His 3rd law is for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So let's watch his belt buckle again. I'm going to make a line to track the movement up and down. And this is a move that all great ball strikers are going to do. As they start the transition, he drops. He's actually squatting down into the ground. Tiger made this move famous, but all the great ball strikers throughout time, Hogan, Snead, Nicklaus, all these guys, they all dropped in their downswing to help build leverage from the ground. And the reason from this is simple physics. If I'm going to accelerate my hands down to this ball with some speed, I need something to brace against to provide more power. So he squats down, and then in the bottom half of his swing, as he's ready to accelerate his hands toward the ball, his upper body is actually moving back up. So let's watch this line again in relationship to his belt buckle. And now look at that, his upper body is coming back up as he's releasing the hands. So every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So as his hands move down, his lower body needs to move up to give him some leverage. So in order for his lower body to fire upward with some force, he first has a squat down. So he's squatting and then posting up on his left leg and providing some leverage and some power to get some good club head speed. So that's the second piece I want to talk about. And finally, the third piece is rotation of the hips. Now let's go over a down the line view so we can get a better look at rotation. All right, so rotation is really key. The kinematic sequence, or the sequence in which things should happen in the downswing. It goes hips, shoulders, arms, and then club. So the energy is transferred from one piece to the next. So I'm going to pause at the top of his backswing. You're going to see his hips are about 45 degrees open or so as he swings to the top. And then, as I mentioned, the hips start the downswing. So they're going to start to rotate in order to get things moving. They get some momentum going with your body. And now let's look at his hips. They're all the way squared back up. But look at the shoulders. They're still very closed. He hasn't begun to spin open with his shoulders yet. And that's a mistake that I see a lot of amateurs make. They want to hit hard from the top with their shoulders and their upper body. And that really kills their distance. So here again, we'll notice that he's starting the transition with his lower body. His shoulders are staying back. Then his shoulders are going to go. Arms are still back. Then his arms are going to release. Then the club is going to release on through. And he's transferring that energy very efficiently. And it all starts with the transition and getting things going with your hips, but making sure that your shoulders are staying nice and passive. So the hips start the momentum, then the shoulders, arms, and club head, and that delivers some speed to the ball. So in an overview, we have three moves that make up the transition. First, we start shifting our weight to the left, and that happens before the downswing starts. We're going to be starting to shift our weight to the left in the last third of the backswing. Next move is we're going to be dropping or squatting. That's going to help us to build leverage and to build power. Same as Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And then lastly, rotation. The hips are going to start first. They rotate first. Then the shoulders, then the arms, then the hands release. So those are your three basic moves of the transition. Okay, so if you're joining us on YouTube, go ahead and click the box on the bottom right-hand side of your screen here. That's going to take you to the premium transition video. Now this would be a video that you'd usually have to pay to see, but we're going to give this to you as a gift along with 25 other high-quality instructional videos. If you click this box on the bottom right, it's going to take you to a section on the website where you're going to be able to watch all those videos and become a free member of the Rotary Swing. I look forward to working with you guys much more in the future. I can't wait to help you with your golf game and to help you to pick up some distance, increase your accuracy, and overall just drop your handicap. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Good luck with your golf game. Now it's time to take action. Don't let another year pass and still be frustrated with your golf game. This is your year to beat all of your friends. Go to the description below and click the link to sign up for your free membership. It will never cost you a dime, and you'll receive over 2.5 hours of detailed, eye-opening video lessons. Plus, you will be able to see the remainder of this video, only available if you click the link on this particular video. Be the first of your friends to join our 40,000 plus free members. We look forward to having you on our team.